The Democratic Party continues to struggle with its messaging and, well, pretty much its entire existence in the wake of Donald Trump's reelection. They're not doing so well, polling around 27% approval. This is even as the Trump administration completely decimates the government, breaks laws, shatters norms. I mean, we even lost a norm. George Wendt, all right, rest in peace. But anyway, what? Okay, what is the Democratic Party going to do about it? I mean, they're not doing so well, and they need to rehabilitate their image. They need to do something. Well, there are people in the party who are attempting to chart, and of course, and they've been coming up against roadblocks. Of course, you have party insiders like Vice Chair David Hogg, who is just basically trying to primary the gerontocracy because we've had 8 Democrats, I believe, in the last year, literally die of old age. Okay, jeez. But then, you've got them, and then you have some in the party, or many in the party establishment, that are looking to basically rehash and repackage the same ideas that got us to this point in the first place. What am I referring to? The abundance agenda, okay, which has come up in direct opposition to populism. Now, what is abundance? Well, this whole idea, again, it's not a new idea. It's just a new name, which was coined by liberal writer Ezra Klein and Derek Thompson. Their whole idea is that we need to get rid of some bottlenecks, okay? Regulatory bottlenecks, zoning laws are too restrictive, environmental protections too restrictive, tenant protections. You see where this is going, right? It's warmed over neoliberalism. Okay, that's it with a new name. Now they say, of course, oh no, this is going to help create new and cheaper housing. So it's going to address the housing crisis. It's going to lower energy prices because fracking, that'll help out. It'll foster also more corporate innovation because we're all really worried about innovation, Look, let me be clear, okay? Some of their ideas are not terrible. Sure, we can build more housing. I mean, those are good construction jobs. Okay. And look, to be fair, there's a lot of zoning laws that are a bit restrictive and ridiculous that do prevent affordable housing from being built. Yes, there's NIMBYism, okay? And so I'm not against some of those ideas, or at least tackling some of those ideas. Progressives, aren't against those ideas either. Leftists aren't against some of those ideas, okay? But that said, abundance is not going to solve the real problems. What are those real problems? Corruption and corporate greed, and corporate control of the government. Okay? Now, here's the thing, though. Abundance is not designed to solve those problems because the abundance movement is specifically backed by those special interest groups and major corporations that have caused the problems in the first place. According to a report in the American Prospect last year, the Abundance Coalition included many prominent centrist organizations. Oh, here we go. But also corporate interests and conservatives that MAGA pushed out of power within the Republican Party. Many components of this faction have financial ties to crypto, AI, big tech, and big oil. Shocker. No surprise that this faction is being picked up and promoted by many neoliberals. Matt Iglesias, okay, Ezra Klein, et cetera, et cetera. Now, they are, of course, standing in opposition to people like Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Tim Walz, many others, okay? And look, Sanders and AOC, they've been traveling around the country doing their Against Oligarchy tour, okay? And they're drawing huge crowds, okay? And that's great. Now, this is while Alyssa Slotkin, senator of Michigan, is going around talking about, we need to stop talking about oligarchy. Stop that. James Carville and Rahm Emanuel, okay, they're out there talking about how the Democrats, the real problem is that the Democrats are too woke. No, and Slotkin was also saying that the Democrats are too weak and woke. Okay, so they're all kind of on the same page on that one. Okay, and then, of course, you have others in the party that are like, you know what our real problem is? We need a lefty Joe Rogan, or more like a liberal Joe Rogan. Okay, because, look, they apparently forgot that Rogan had once backed Bernie Sanders, which is,
whoopsie.
Yeah. And you know why? Populism. You see, it turns out that when you ask voters what they prefer, while giving them the definition of abundance versus populism, what are they going to choose? Populism. Yes, populism. In an Axios poll, they described arguments for both abundance and populism, and then asked respondents to choose which they preferred. Now, the abundance argument, of course, is the big problem is bottlenecks that make it harder to produce housing, expand energy production, or build new roads and bridges. The populist argument, of course, is that the big problem is that big corporations have way too much power over our economy and our government. What's the result? 55.6% of all voters actually preferred the populist argument, saying that, yes, we agree that big corporations are kind of the problem. Okay, they are the problem, compared to 43.5% who said that they were be more likely to vote for a candidate who offered abundance. Now, you're not going to be shocked to find out, by the way, that most of the people who wanted abundance were right-wing. In the poll, 72.5% of Democrats reacted positively to the populist argument, compared to just 39.6% of Republicans. For independents, it was still a majority, 55.4%. Now, when given a direct choice, of course, 59% of Democrats preferred the populist argument, compared to just 16.8% liking the abundance one. It is very, very clear from these results that the Democratic voters, not the party establishment, Democratic voters want populism, want someone who is taking on big corporations and lobbying, okay? Because corporations have way too much power and influence on our government. And of course, circling it all back to who is actually propping up abundance, it would be the same corporations. That's it. Liberal wonks like Klein, Iglesias, and their corporate buddies, along with many Republicans, they're the ones that want abundance. And so I think that it's pretty clear that if the Democrats end up going with abundance, which unfortunately I think that they're very likely to do because the Democratic establishment is very pro-corporate, it means that they're going to continue to try to court Republican voters who are more in favor of abundance. Now, what is the lesson that Democrats should have learned during this last election, as well as 2016, hell, even 2020? That if you try to court Republicans, you're going to lose. I know it's something about, hey, maybe we should focus on the base, and actually appeal to Democrats, Democratic voters, liberal voters who are actually, again, not pro-abundance, but pro-populism. Then if we do, we'll actually win. The reason that they're not, though, I think it's pretty obvious by now. They're repping the corporations because that's who pays them, okay? That's where all the money is. The big corporations, the think tanks, the special interests, they've got all the money, okay? And they are paying people in the Democratic establishment to continue to try to tack to the right, to do more neoliberalism under a different name. So they can get paid. And so these corporations can continue to get more and more money and have less regulations. Again, I'm not saying all regulations are fantastic. You got to have things that make sense, obviously. And so, yes, you can do something with the zoning, okay? And you can build more homes, but you also have to have it where these big companies can't just go and scoop up all the single-family homes on an entire block and rent them out at more exorbitant prices, because that's what they're doing right now. And Abundance does not have a fix for that. They're part of the problem. You just build more housing that these companies can scoop up, and you haven't solved a damn thing. That's one of the problems here. And so it's no surprise, though, to see that these liberal wonks and the corporations that back them want more neoliberalism and don't want populism, because populism, at the end of the day, even though the American people want it, threatens the corporations' bottom line. And unfortunately, that seems to matter much, much more than the will of the people. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.